If you wish you'd been able to identify the likes of Nvidia or Google early in their careers, then this episode of The Pitch is for you. I'm Sarah Allen, and today I'm joined by James Abela from Fidelity. James is the co-portfolio manager for the Fidelity Global Future Leaders Fund and Active ETF. Today we're going to discuss all things investing in early future leaders. James, welcome.
Thanks, Sarah.
To begin with, 2024 was tipped as the year for small and mid caps. How is this playing out so far? And what are the key risks you're seeing in the outlook?
It's been tracking well, so pretty much earnings have been sliding upwards, and what's been happening is the breadth and the depth of the earnings improvement has been basically improving since the beginning of the year. And because of that now, confidence has now started to improve. So the Russell had a really strong rally in the last few months, but definitely the sentiment has moved away from recession and fear and slowdown into the fact that the recovery is real. And the fact that there is breadth and depth. So the number of stocks that are going up into upgrade mode is expanding, but the number of sectors that are also expanding, it's just showing that it's not just technology or industrials, it's actually right across the board. So that's what I think is giving the market confidence at the moment.
Can the momentum keep up?
I think it can, because the earnings are improving. If the earnings did soften, especially led by the US, I think the market has reason to be more concerned and weaken. But the earnings are actually improving and the earnings are being delivered. The recent reporting season has been quite good in the US, and that should give clients quite confidence to actually go back into the market.
Are you concerned at all about central bank activity?
I think the US, definitely the increasing has now ceased, and now it's really going to start to move down. The question is just at what pace does it start to move down? And I think that's what has got people worried. It's sort of being delayed, but I do think that we are at the top and now we are moving down, and eventually it will move downward, and that should give investors confidence that the market has reason to hold its current levels and then to keep on growing as the earnings start to be delivered.
Moving on to your portfolio, what are some of the key themes that you invest in?
The key themes are really four big ones. So when we do look for global future leaders, there is technology, there is industrials, there is healthcare, and there is really financials. They're the four key ones. Consumer is a sort of number 5, but it's definitely like a bit of a weaker one. But they're four big themes. So technology, leadership, innovation, facilitation of productivity, that's really the technology leadership. Industrials, mainly distributors, that are high return businesses that are a small component of a critical operation within another business, but it's really been a captive part for many, many years, and that's really why it's done really well. Healthcare, again, innovation, leadership, services, and then financials as markets. And we have a lot of exposure in the global mid caps to get exposure into things like KKR, Apollo, Ares, and these are really great businesses that get you exposed to private equity or alternatives or private credit, and they've been very successful over the last decade. So they're the key themes that we have in the fund right now.
What are the key qualities that make a future leader?
So we have a process called VSC, so viability, sustainability, credibility at the stock picking level. And then at the portfolio level, we really risk manage the process by looking at what we call the tag of the stock. So that's quality, value, transitional momentum, which is really about risk management at the portfolio level. But stock picking is really where it all begins. So you need to have a high return business that we call a high viability, high return, a very persistent return profile, not doing really high returns and then in the negatives. It's very consistent and persistent. Secondly, it's the sustainability of that high return profile. So that's market structure, pricing power, the fact that it is a critical component within either a consumer's head or an industrial supply chain process, and that's why it makes it a lot more captive and a lot longer duration. Is it unique? Is it solving a problem that is unique? That gives it long duration. And lastly is credibility. So that is trusting the accounts, trusting management, and trusting yourself to make judgments over the viability and the sustainability. If you have a high return business that's long duration and the accounts management and your own judgment can be all credible, you have a global future leader. And we've found them before, and they've gone up, the fund's only been running for 5 years, including the pilot, and they're up 3 to 4 times over that period. And we've studied our top 10, and the top 10 over a decade have ranged between sort of 3 times and 10 times, so 1,000% or 300% over a 10-year period. And that's really what you do get when you find a high viability with long duration and high credibility. And that's really what we're trying to find every day of the week.
The two largest sector weightings in the portfolio are towards industrials and information technology. Why are you finding the best opportunities for quality future leaders in these sectors?
Those two sectors have a lot of future leaders. So the high return businesses, high sustainable, high credibility. Technology just has so many sub-segments that have really good return profiles, and they are really providing productivity to their businesses or solving a problem that's very unique in the world. And technology includes a whole range of sub-segments, so it's quite a big opportunity set. Industrials are similarly, but it's much more about their critical nature within a supply chain. So a distributor of a singular product or a distributor of a range of product. And it just becomes very important within the industrials mindset. And that is, yeah, and just to find those businesses are great. So Granger is a really good one and Amatec is another one. And those two businesses just have really high returns. They've done them for decades and decades. And they've been great businesses to invest in. So technology industrial is very similar, high VSC scores, long duration, great, beautiful compounders. And we just find a lot of them in those segments and the sectors.
So you mentioned a few companies there that can you give us a few more examples of companies that you really like that you think that have great potential to grow?
Yeah, so one is Transmedics. It's an organ transplant system. It's a very innovative system where a heart or a lung can be taken into a very big machine. It's big like that, and actually simulates the human body for blood, plasma, and all the other functions of the human body. So it can keep a heart or a lung movement continuing as if it was in a human body for a longer period of time, obviously, compared to the traditional put it on an esky and kind of rush it to the hospital. And it also gives much higher, much lower loss rates. So even heart transplants can be given to a doctor, but then they get lost. So through damage and time. So this really is an amazing innovation. It's been decades in the making, but it just recently got FDA approval for heart, and it's obviously performed very well, and it's gone from losses to making profits, and then the outlook is now quite strong, and they're going from just heart to other organs of the human body, so they've got to get approval for all of those next. But yeah, really innovative. Again, a business that's solving a problem very uniquely in the world. It's actually this smaller mid-cap, what's really exciting is it's not a frontier of innovation of the world. So you're creating new ideas for the world to move the world as a human world forward with a new idea. So this is one that, transplants have been happening for thousands of years. But this is trying to introduce a system that's just better, superior, better for the medical system, but also better for obviously the patients. And that's now that's in our top 10. It's been a great business, and we're quite excited about that still.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights today.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed this interview, please subscribe to Livewire Markets. Thank you for watching.